Welcome back. Sports Talk here on the Atlantic Television Network. We're sorry for that break, due to technical hitch. But we're back, and Mike is here.
Yeah, good morning, sir, and good morning to our viewers out there.
Well, we'll get started. We'll start in badminton, where Victor Ikechukwu and Sophia Dubanishola emerged winners in the All-Stars Badminton Championship that took place in the city of Abuja. Ikechukwu triumphed in a fiercely competitive men's singles final, defeating Aliu Shehu in the straight sets 21-19, 21-19 to pocket the tournament's bank, breaking price of 1 million naira. That's quite a big one for a badminton championship.
Yes, of course, a big one for badminton championship, and of course we are gaining ground in terms of badminton right here. And for Sophia, I think she's done pretty well so far this season. I tell you, one of the stars we must watch out in future. If there's anything to go by, looking at what she's displaying so far in the world of chess, I tell you, it's going to be a massive one. Because she's one of the best standout player in this very championship, right from
Past experience, Obanishola's grit and determination secured her victory, and of course the second prize, which is 700,000 naira, making her one of the stars of the tournament. In the women's double event, we saw Obanishola and Zainab Alabi combined to defeat Deborah Uke and Ruth Ebere in a grueling three-set battle that lasted 20-21, 21-9, and 21-10. The veterans category added a touch of nostalgia as Joseph and Mata triumphed in the mixed veterans doubles. We saw Abubakar and Kolo claim the 50-plus men's doubles title. In the 28-49 veterans doubles, we saw Aminu and Anache showcase their mettle with a commanding 21-17, 21-15 victory over Wesu and Yaya. Enough of badminton, and now let's go to chess, where Torisho Umwa has emerged as the new Nigeria's women's national chess champion at the just concluded 2024 National Chess Championship that took place in Lagos. Playing her very first national tournament in 2012, we saw Teresha Umwa, who has been in the dugout for the Nigerian chess industry and battled her way up to the ladder in the women's chess. Chess is not very popular here, but we're beginning to see young athletes, chess players, try to make a statement.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's an encouraging one. And despite the fact that it's not one of the popular games right here in this part of the climb, but then we are making giant strides in order to ensure that at least we are also able to put ourselves on the map out there when you talk about chess, right here in the country, in the continent of Africa. It was a good one for, for him out there. And if you take a look at the season so far, he has actually won 47 so far this season, drawn 10 and lost just 12, and that is to tell you how impressive he has been so far in form. And I tell you, if he continues in this very impressive display, I tell you, maybe the sky is just the beginning of good things for him to come. I just pray, because I listened to her shortly after the championship. She was talking about too many distractions, discouragements, setback here and there, whether she was going to continue and all of that. But then I think despite all of these obstacles, which are part of the challenges of life, I still see light at the end of the tunnel for him.
Torisha Mwa actually won 8 consecutive games before she was stopped by resurgent Onoja Joy, who finished third on the final standing. After the loss, we hope that Torisha Mwa will pick herself up and, of course, secure victory in her very next match. We will crown her as the 2024 Nigeria Women's Chess Champion. Congratulations to her. She further, of course, added the title of Speed Chess Champion to trophy cabinet, and she claimed the Jonathan Odega's National Women's Blitz Chess Championship. So far this year, Tori has achieved 47 wins, 10 draws like you heard, and 12 losses in a total of 69 games that she has played. As the National Chess Women's Champion, she is in line to receive a prize money and all of the expense paid trip to represent Nigeria at the 2025 African Chess Championship in Botswana, where she hopes to make the country further proud. This is taking it to the next level, continental level. Can she make it out there representing Nigeria, or maybe become the very first Nigerian woman grandmaster?
Yeah, for me, she has the potentials to do that. Having shown such consistency so far this season, and also her resolve to also continue to do very well despite the obstacles and challenges that come here and there. I think she has what it takes to become the #1 in Africa. Then before we talk about global, she has to start from home here, and of course she has done pretty well in the local scene. The next move for her is to head to the continent and also dominate. Then I think the rest will be history for her.
The rest will be history for Tori, and we just hope that she can hit stardom, especially starting from the continent of Africa. Now let's go to fencing. And fencing, which was hosted by Nigeria between the 14th and the 15th. At the weekend, it was very busy for fencers. Nigeria played host to 7 other countries with 39 fencers going head-to-head for the medals and world rankings at the prestigious Theatre House in Lagos, becoming the very first country in sub-Saharan Africa to host a fencing World Cup. Fencing, I'm very sure a lot of people do not know this sports, but I'm sure with the hosting of this event just a few hours ago, I'm sure now Nigerians are beginning to keep an eye on what fencing looked like. We saw a 2-day championship, and it was very, very heartwarming.
Yeah, very heartwarming, and though it wasn't a good outing for us, but then I think it's a win-win situation for us because of
we got exposed to what the fencing is all about. Some people think fencing, and you want to think what's about fencing. What does fencing got to do in sports?
Yeah.
But at least now there's what I call exposure to it, and we gradually will build on it if we continue. At least from we've seen a situation where other fencers came here.
Maybe in the next few years, right now, we're talking about Nigeria, being one of the fencing playing nation in Africa, as it is. We continue to make this giant stride. But I tell you, it was an impressive one, having seen different fencers from different countries coming to assemble right here in Nigeria, for the fencing World Cup Championship. And of course, a record-breaking one for us, hosting it being the first time a sub-Saharan African country or region is going to hold this very one. I think it's a big one for us. Let's continue to move in this trajectory. And I must also commend the chairman of the Nigerian Fencing Association. Despite the challenges they has faced over the years, you can also remember or recall that few months ago, we were about to go for a world championship out there. They said the National Sport Commission or Sport Ministry, then as they were called, said that they don't have any funds to support them, that the fencers should also seek for friends and family to get financial support to enable them attend that championship, which they actually did. They had to dip hand into their own pocket to sponsor themselves out there, and yet the chairman did not give up. He continued to push, and today we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel.
At the end of the 2-day championship held in Nigeria, we saw Egypt won the team event after beating Greece in the final. Saudi Arabia did settle for bronze despite facing a very tough preliminary round group. We saw Egypt. We had Egypt, Nigeria. Nigeria, talking about Nigeria, they managed to finish 7th in the team event. Many thanks to the president of the Federation, Dinka Samuel, who said despite hosting the event, it was difficult, but then it was a learning curve for Nigeria. Now let's go to Formula 1 and talk about Formula 1. The biggest news is that Rwanda is bidding to host a Formula 1 Grand Prix, and Paul Kagame, the president of the country, is very keen on ensuring that Africa hosts. The first time we saw Africa host a racing event was in South Africa, and since then we've never had any Formula 1 event being hosted in Africa. But now Rwanda, the capital of Kigali, looks like getting set to be host of yet another Formula 1 event here in Africa.
I think it's going to be a massive one, going to be a facelift for sport in Rwanda out there. Though the oppositions are also taking a dig at the president, saying that it was more like using the public fund for sport wash or whatever. But then I tell you, I think
wash is common. We've seen Saudi Arabia involve themselves in sport wash as well, and they are growing in
in leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
They haven't even gotten the right to host the 2034 World Cup. So for me, I think it's just about opposition. They will always want to criticize, the government at the top. But I tell you, away from the political undertone to it, I think that it is a nice one, because since last time an African country hosted Formula One, dated back in 1993, it was South Africa. Ever since then, how many years down the line, Africa has been cut off from the Formula One, which for me, I think it shouldn't be. So if they make a frantic effort toward, hosting this very one, I think it's going to be a nice one for Africa. Don't forget that Ben Sulayem, when they organized their meeting out there, which actually took place in Rwanda out there, they also considered that, and they're also looking at it. And do they have the facilities on ground to host this very one? Of course, yes. I think they do, because I've actually made a little research about their road, about the tracks. If it actually meet up with the standard of the Formula One, they have what it takes to host this very one. So it's going to be a plus for Africa, not just for Rwanda.
Rwanda in the mix for Formula One hosting event. We wish it happens in Africa. Let's quickly go now to Ultimate Fight Championship, and that reminds me of middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, the Starbender. We understand he will be having a match in Saudi Arabia at the that's in Riyadh, to be specific, sometime early next year. Who is his opponent, and is Dana White in this mix?
Yeah, it's in the mix. But I think for me, Israel Adesanya trying to gain back, what he has lost, because he has not been an impressive one for him in his last two fights after losing to Dricus Duplessis. It has been very difficult for him to bounce back into reckoning. So this time around, trying to use one or two fights there. Though originally this is not who he was supposed to fight, but then I think he's trying gradually to be very selective about the opponent that he picks, so that he doesn't get defeated. Maybe you want to use that as a makeshift to build his career back after that disastrous loss for him. So wish him well. We hope that he's able to win this very one, so that actually he can be able to crawl back into reckonings.
Well, let's get our final other sports story on the show this hour, and we'll tell you in basketball, Gianni Antetokounmpo scored 32 points and secured 14 rebounds as Milwaukee Bucks beat Atlanta Hawks 110-102 to reach the NBA Cup final. The Bucks will face Oklahoma City Thunder. That will be tomorrow, early hours of tomorrow, and Wednesday, here in Nigeria, to determine who gets to the very final. Antetokounmpo, of course, has led this team, the Milwaukee Bucks, in last time they, of course, did made champions. But now he has to do more. He had 25 points from Damian Lillard, and of course, we saw 16 coming from Brian Lobeck, all in a bid to taking out Atlanta Hawks. This Bucks chance gives Bucks a chance to make up for what happened at the semifinals.
Exactly. I think it's a big opportunity for them to capitalize and also showcase what they can do out there. And for their star man, Gianni Antetokounmpo, impressive display, Digard as well. And that is why it is always good for you to have two, or three key players in your squad, so that when one does not live up to the expectation, the next man can also carry the burden of a team, other than relying on one man every now and then to do the job. So I think it was a team and a spirited display from Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, let's we hope to bring you more details about basketball, especially in the regular season NBA that is ongoing. If you're a follower of the game, you know that Orlando Magic lost at home. Yes, 91 points they managed to score as against a whooping 109 score by New York Knicks. We equally saw in the early hours of this morning Washington DC losing at home as well, because Celtics from Boston came all the way to beat them out there in Washington, 112-98 points. San Antonio Spurs equally lost at home. It was a victory for Minnesota Timberwolves, who beat them by 105-92 points. LA Lakers returned to winning ways because Memphis Grizzlies lost. Lakers beat them by 116 points to 110 points. Now, let's quickly go to football because we're running out of time. And we'll start first with the local scene here. The Nigeria Premier Football League entered into match day 17, and Academy Warriors playing in Maiduguri beat Abia Warriors by 3 unreplied goals. It was 4-0 in the match involving Niger Tornadoes and Sunshine Stars. Sunshine Stars continue to receive beating on the road. Meanwhile, it was a goalless situation in the match between Katsina United and Rangers International. Harland FC played a 1-1 draw with Insurance of Benin, while Bayelsa United beat Aqua by 2-1 at the Samson Sese Stadium in Yenagoa. At the let's say, the stadium here in Port Harcourt. We saw Rivers United play out a 2-1 win over Kwara United at the Yakubu Gowon's stadium. Mike, Rivers United back to winning ways. They are now top again on the log of the Premier League here in Nigeria. Can they continue to trade in the leading position?
We just hope to see them continue in that very fashion. But you take a look at the way they're able to churn out the result in the last 3 games. It's been very, very slim margin. 1 goal to nothing, 2 goals to 1. It's been very struggling time for Rivers United. But I just think that they can also continue. Having seen Remo Star drop point, and that gave them an advantage to go 2 points ahead of Remo Star. But they must maintain consistency if there's anything to go by for them this season.
Finley George and his lad must maintain consistency to ensure that they remain tops on the league table there in Nigeria. 17 weeks, many more games to play. We're talking about Sunshine Stars giving up the number of goals and points as well on the road. It is they now have a new coach in place.
Yeah, I have a new coach in place and making it 3 coaches right now as it is. You know,
in the course of the season, 17 matches to go, 3 coaches.
Yeah, you know, Kennedy Boboye left courtesy of 1 or 2 disagreement and all of that. Had to put an interim man who has been replaced with a permanent coach as it is right now. Let's hope that he can be able to change the fortune of the club right now, because they are not seated in a very comfortable position on the league.
Well, let's quickly now go to the continent, and across the continent, Enyimba International of Aba was in action against their counterparts, Rolling Bulls. I'm really shocked. This is a team that has suffered several defeats in the course of their group stage performances, but Enyimba International, with a lot of pedigree, went to Mozambique and lost to Black Bulls by 3 unreplied goals yesterday. That was really, really shocking. It was 2-0 at first half, and second half didn't do them any good, and they considered the 3rd goal. And right now, Enyimba International is rock bottom of Group D after garnering just a point from 3 games.
Disappointing one, not a sensational display from Enyimba. As early as 16 minutes, they had already conceded to the whooping team of that group, because I call them whooping team of that group, being the fact that they have not gotten even a single point even before this game. And for a whooping team of the group, for Enyimba, 2-time CAF Champions League winner, to go out there and concede 3 goals to nothing, I think for me is the height of how poor the form of Enyimba has been so far, both in the continent and in the local league right here. They have not been on a very high note, and I tell you, they are walking on a very tight rope right now. In fact, it's as good as saying that Enyimba is already out.
Yeah, tight rope indeed, because they have Al Masry to play in Egypt, and Zamalek. No, Al Masry is it in Nigeria, then Zamalek in Egypt, and there's no way they can go past the 2 Egyptian club side if with pedigree is anything to go by, and of course current form as well. Enyimba is not doing well. They are ranked. They are 10th place on the Premier League table here in Nigeria, and it looks like it's getting from bad to worse. We understand the management of the team have placed the players on half salary, so it looks like it's going to get more difficult. Rasi Ademola Lookman of Nigeria. Before this time, everybody's talked about winning, but reports coming in from Morocco seem to have some level of hidden celebration for the home lad Ashraf Yakimi.
I think that is not African agenda. They are always good in trying to play some of these dirty politics behind the scene to ensure that at least they project their own for whatever reason. But I tell you, if we are to go by performance, if we are to go by statistics, if we are to go by consistency of these 2 players, both for their club side last season down to this season and their country side, I tell you, Lookman stand head and shoulder above Achraf Hakimi. No doubt the Paris Saint-Germain defender did pretty well for his club side and also for his country, but then I think that Ademola Lookman is more consistent and more prolific and more outshines Achraf Hakimi in all ramifications, whichever way you want to look at it. So for me, I think the pendulum will definitely swing in favor of Lookman Ademola today.
Lookman Ademola, the man from Atalanta who plays for Atalanta from Nigeria, is no doubt let's say ahead if we consider one man is in the mix. The youngest player to score in a 90-minute encounter, we can see Nathan. What was the second goal? That was some great, and
straight games, 8 losses, 2 draws, and just 1 win in their last 11 games in all. That is to tell you how
proud of Amad Diallo as we speak. There were some other results at the weekend. Arsenal dropped points at the Emirates Stadium, surprisingly, against an Everton side that maybe had rested well to defend all of 90 minutes. They didn't have a shot. In fact, they were not attacking. They were just defending.
And they sat back to absorb the pressure, and of course they did that in a very magical fashion, playing the low block system, and they find it difficult, talking about Arsenal, to break their defense line, and that is why they had to drop points.
Liverpool as well dropped points at home, especially at the Anfield, where he played 2-2 with Fulham, the team from London.
A very stubborn team, talking about Fulham. In fact, Liverpool had to come back twice, to ensure that they even took a point in that very one. Though they played with one man down, but one will ask, what brings red cards in?